And welcome live to WCBN sports coverage of Michigan men's basketball. Today we have a very special, bubble special I should say, between the Michigan Wolverines and the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. Michigan, of course, has been stuck in the news nonstop in the national media the past 3-4 days, because of their head coach, Juwan Howard. I'm joined alongside with Zach Balogh. Zach, what do the Wolverines need to do today to get this win? How do you put that Juwan Howard fiasco behind you and get this big-time win that it would be?
Honestly, just been continue to do what you've been doing all year. Give the ball to Hunter Dickinson, play your game. Don't let the playing without Juwan, Moussa, and Terrance get in your way. Just continue to play, keep playing confidently. You got the players to beat this Rutgers team, even though you lost last matchup against these guys. So it's really exciting to see what they can do. Phil Martelli, he has experience. He'll be coaching the Wolverines in their last 5 regular season games. He has experience in this situation as St. Joe's head coach years prior. So, yeah, so he knows how to coach, and especially in this situation when your team's on the bubble. So it'll be exciting to see what he can do, see what he brings what he brings himself to the table, see what he continues to bring from Juwan Howard.
Got you, definitely. This is a very interesting situation that the Wolverines haven't been in. First of all, in terms of the NCAA tournament, that they haven't been in a long time, since about the 2015-2016 season, that Michigan is on the bubble and squarely on the bubble. The Wolverines currently are about 50-50 as whether or not they're in or not in terms of all the bracketologist predictions. Joe Lunardi of ESPN has Michigan in as an 11 seed. Jerry Palm of CBS has the Wolverines out. This is a very big-time game. This would be a quad 2 win, not a quad 1 win, but still a win against another bubble team that come March, come Selection Sunday, could be very important. And so what do you think the Wolverines need to do? I guess you already answered that. What does Rutgers need to do against Michigan today to get the win? Of course, they're led by Cliff Omori, Geo Baker, the usual suspects, Ron Harper Jr. Rutgers has been killing everybody as of recently, the top dogs in the Big Ten. What do they need to do today to pick up a big quad 1 win for them?
Honestly, just keep playing the same way they've been playing these last 5 games. They've won the last 4 or 5 against, honestly, quad 1 teams. So last 3 out of 4 quad 1 games they've won. So it's really for them to win this game. Really, honestly, I would like to see them try to get the ball to Ron Harper Jr. and Geo Baker. Try to drive Geo Baker against Diabate Jones. Diabate Jones has struggled a little bit on defense. He's not as quick laterally, which is a huge advantage. Another advantage they'll probably have is last game, obviously, Michigan struggled from three-point range. Rutgers doesn't struggle from three-point range as much. So see if they can take advantage of that, continue to shoot well from free, continue to drive, try to get Michigan into foul trouble because they're going to be out with Terrance Williams and Moussa, so they were already short on players. Their rotation was very tight already. So it's for them to win, honestly, just try to shorten it out. Try to get, honestly, if you can get Hunter Dickinson into foul trouble, you'll be looking great.
That's a very good point because, like you said, Moussa Diabate is serving that 1-game suspension, as is Terrance Williams. So at that 3 or 4 position, the Wolverines are a little short today. And so that's why, for example, the starting lineup for the Michigan Wolverines will be Devontae Jones, Caleb Houston, Eli Brooks, Hunter Dickinson, and then Brandon Johns, the guy who was such a big name for Michigan at the end of last season when Isaiah Livers got hurt. He stepped up for them big times in that NCAA tournament last year. But he's been completely nowhere to be seen this season. Barely played since the beginning of the year, in which he did start, but then he lost his job to Moussa Diabate. So this is going to be a big game for Brandon Johns to sort of get his confidence back up and maybe get the confidence in the coaches and him back up, because it seems like everybody's forgotten about him.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. You just got to play without thinking too much. Just play basketball, go out there, have fun, stop thinking a little too much, make those basketball plays, high IQ plays, and show what you got, because you did look good in March Madness last year, and unfortunately this year he's not looked like the same player as that player in March Madness.
Yeah, no, he most definitely did. I mean, one thing that a lot of Michigan fans I know have been talking about recently was, kind of the comparison of this team to last year's team, which is that last year Eli Brooks was hitting nonstop. He was shooting threes nonstop. He doesn't do that as much this year. It might be that left thumb injury, who knows. But the same can sort of be said of Brandon Johns, and so Wolverines have to be hoping for a big-time performance from them today if they're going to get this win. So Michigan is in their home maize yellow jerseys. Rutgers in their red away jerseys. And we have I don't want to say ruckus crowd because there's frankly not too much people here in Chrysler Center, Ann Arbor, Michigan. But a decent showing for this big-time bubble special. As it looks like we're waiting on BTN Network to get their cameras fully set up here, or getting out of the way, I guess.
I think get out of the way right there. They got a photographer right over there.
Yeah. Yeah, here we go. Like we said, big-time bubble game for both teams. Frankly, whoever wins this game is probably going to be in the NCAA tournament as of today.
Yeah.
Now, what happens in the future, we'll have to wait and see. But
honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Michigan were to win today. Rutgers is a quad 1 win by the weekend. They've won 3 of their last 4 quad 1 games. Honestly, people are surprised they aren't quad 1 already.
Yeah, and there we go. Rutgers wins the tip. They go back to Geo Baker, and then immediately Cliff Amori gets an easy dunk.
Honestly, just a little bit of lazy defense, a little bit slow to get back to get to Amori.
Dickinson gets it at the top of the key. Looking left goes to Devontae Jones. He gets a screen from Dickinson. Jones throws up a little floater. No good, but he gets fouled, they say, I believe, on Ron Harper Jr.
Yeah, honestly, I like what I saw from Devontae Jones there. You're going to need some point production, especially Moussa, who's been probably like their second top scorer. So you're going to need some point production. I like the aggressiveness by Devontae drawing the foul. He's going to need to keep doing that all game.
And do you think it's weird, Zach, hearing from Phil yelling from the sidelines rather than Juwan?
I feel like it might be a little bit weird at first, but I think it's just a coach, and they should be used to it. Juwan yells at them all the time. It's just a different person giving him pointers on what to do on the court. Honestly, it might be nice because it might give you a different perspective, might be giving more different pointers to you.
No, that's a good point. Devontae Jones makes 2 of 2, and it is 2-2-2 with 19:38 to go in this first half. Geo Baker crossing the block M as the Michigan student section gets loud here. Baker goes to the rack, kicks it out to Paul McCahey. McCahey goes up with the floater, no good. Devontae Jones rebound. Here comes Michigan on the break. Eli Brooks gets a pass and then throws it to Brandon Johns, and out of bounds. It looks like it's a tip off Rutgers, though. But it's a good point about Phil Martelli in that he has a ton of experience. He's not any new to this head coaching thing. Phil Martelli was a big-time head coach for St. Joe's for a long time, and that was a great program. I mean, they were an NCAA tournament stable point.
Yeah, honestly, I think people were surprised when he was let go from St. Joe's, that after one year, 2018, I believe, he was just let go. So he has a winning record as a head coach, so that's something good to see, especially from a non-Power 5 former head coach.
Yeah.
So exciting to see that.
Yeah, and to get you caught up, Eli Brooks missed the 3, and then we had a pass thrown out of bounds by Rutgers. So Michigan will have it back here at midcourt in the out-of-bounds set. Brandon Johns, Caleb Houston will inbound it. Houston goes back to Jones at the block M. Jones to Houston on the right wing. He dribbles around. Looking, finds Devontae Jones down to Brandon Johns now. Johns posting up Ron Harper, trying to size him up here and get a quick bucket. He goes in and then puts up the floater. He gets it to go, but there is a travel, so no good. Rutgers will get the ball back right now.
I like the confidence there. He's just a little bit sloppy there with the basketball IQ. Got to keep one pivot foot going towards the paint.
Yeah, you got to get those bunnies organized, as Bill Raftery, famous commentator, likes to say. So here comes Rutgers. And Caleb Houston gets a big-time block on McConnell. Houston bringing it back now. Michigan will get their half-court set. Dickinson fakes a screen, and then Houston takes it all the way to the rack and missed. Oh, he got the layup. I thought that was going to roll out there.
Nice Euro step there by Caleb Houston. Nice to see that. It's nice to see that he's being aggressive, especially with Moussa Diabate out of this game. He needs to step up, score some points.
Yeah, Mulcahy goes right back at Michigan, gets an easy layup. Down comes Devontae Jones now. He gets a screen from Dickinson. John sets another screen. Dickinson now looking for a pass at the top of the key. He dribbles left, finds Devontae Jones in the left corner. Jones driving, a little Euro step fake, and then throws up a little Xavier Simpson floater and gets it to go.
Nice aggressive play there, driving the paint by Devontae Jones. Honestly, there's a big point that you're going to need to score, especially with 2 of your top 8 players being out, especially one starter being out.
Yeah, Ron Harper back on the offensive end for Rutgers gets a little nice post-up move on Brandon Johnson, gets a little floater to go. So Michigan has it back offensively. It scores 6-6 here, 3 minutes gone by in this first half. Dickinson gets the ball in the low block. Looking around, he has Amori guarding him. Dickinson faces up, gets a jumper, and it's an air ball. The crowd thankfully won't let him know about it. McConnell bringing back now for Rutgers. Finds Mulcahy at the top of the key. He'll get them set. Steve Peichel calls a play. Amori will come set a screen to the left of Brandon Johnson. Mulcahy will go all the way to the rack and get swatted by Hunter Dickinson and out of bounds off Hunter Dickinson. So it'll be Rutgers ball. Looks like we have 20 seconds left on the shot clock reset.
Nice defensive play there by Hunter Dickinson, getting the block. Unfortunately, couldn't keep control of it, so it went off him, but nice play there by Hunter Dickinson.
Ron Harper gets the inbounds pass, facing up Brandon Johns at the right elbow, then finds Geo Baker, the ever-steady guard for Rutgers in his 5th year for this team. He faces up and shoots a 3 over Eli Brooks. Nothing but the window there. Devontae Jones will bring it back. Jones gets 2 screens set from Hunter Dickinson and Johns, and then Dickinson will take a 3 and miss it. Brandon Johns gathers the rebound. Dickinson goes right at Paul McKay. He throws up a Simpson floater once again and misses it. Little sky hook action here early.
Yeah. See, Hunter has had to expand his range due to the fact that a lot of the other players in the starting lineup aren't very good three-point shooters, very consistent three-point shooters, especially with Moussa Diabate being out there, so he's really developed that, stepped out.
Yeah, Brandon Johns on the offensive end for Michigan threw up an air ball. Dickinson was in the right place at the right time, gets a little easy bucket on the way back there. So it's 8-6 early here. We are under 16 minutes. Paul McKay getting the Rutgers offense set up. Cross-court pass to Geo Baker. Baker driving, kicks it out. Mulcahy on the right wing finds Cliff Amori, who spots up a little mid-range jumper and no good off the front iron. Devontae Jones once again will bring it back. Finds Caleb Houston for 3, no good.
That last possession on defense, really good defensive possession for the Michigan Wolverines.
And Mulcahy driving right back at Michigan, and we get a charge called. It was Eli Brooks who was able to draw it. Fantastic defensive stand by the 5th-year senior for the Wolverines. And so it is 8-6 as we get our under 16 media timeout here with 15:19 to go. Solid start. I mean, nothing special, right? Is there anything that's been surprising so far for you?
A couple misses here by Hunter Dickinson, especially around the basket. That's been the biggest surprise. He hasn't been as efficient at that end. But overall, both these teams have been playing good defense. It's going to be a low-scoring battle, so hopefully maybe someone can pick it up here. Might be another game like the Wisconsin game where they're not very going to be hitting on threes in the first half, and then in the second half, one team will pull away on that in the efficiency part. Hopefully it's Michigan, but we'll see.
Yeah, I mean, these Michigan Wolverines have certainly been a first-half team all year, it seems like. I mean, just, 3 weeks ago they played Michigan State in the Breslin Center in East Lansing, and Michigan kept it close. They were down 39-35 at halftime, I think. And it was a good half, but they couldn't keep up in the second half. Ended up losing that game by 16. Then against Purdue on the road in their first game against Purdue of this year. That one was 39-33, a great first half. Again, could not keep up in the second half. They got down by 10 with like three minutes left in the game. And then most recently, like you said, the famous Wisconsin game where Michigan kept it close in the first half. It was tied at halftime. And then the beginning of the second half, per usual, is where Wisconsin just stepped on the gas and Michigan couldn't keep up. What do you think has been the issue with that? Why does that continue to be a trend here for these Wolverines?
I think, honestly, it is just a really young team. So when you got a lot of young players, a lot of players first time playing in the Big Ten, it wears them out. They're excited at the beginning, and then they get all that going. And then as the second half comes around, they become a little complacent, they start to lose energy a little bit. They're tired, so then they let up a little bit. Another team knows that it's Big Ten basketball and they gotta play both halves, so they rear it up for the second half.
Yeah, I mean, it would definitely be good to play both halves.
Yeah, honestly, in the Wisconsin game, it was Johnny Davis who just popped out of nowhere in the second half. He just went off, showed his NBA potential in that game. So really, this probably, and then Michigan couldn't hit any wide open three. They were like 3 for 26 or something from downtown that game. So
yeah, Johnny Davis was certainly a stud in that game. I mean, there's a reason why everyone has considered him to be a guaranteed top 10 pick in the NBA draft, because that dude can simply play. His mid-range jumper is, I mean, it's clean to say the least. So here we go. Michigan comes out of their timeout early, and now Rutgers will get reset here. There's been no fouls on the Wolverines yet. We have 2 against Rutgers, with 1 on Ron Harper Jr. So that could be important to watch. Harper, he does get in foul trouble a decent amount for the Scarlet Knights. So Eli Brooks will get the inbounds pass. A little full court press here from Rutgers early on. Michigan breaks it, finds Eli Brooks. Houston wanted the quick 3. He doesn't take it though. Dribbles it back out to Diabate Jones, and Michigan will get reset.
really smart decision there by Houston not to throw the free up when his feet wasn't set.
Little backdoor pass to Diabate Jones from Hunter Dickinson, and he gets the layup to go. The score is 10-6 here in Ann Arbor. Paul Mulcahy will bring it up.
Honestly, a thing that people don't really talk about Dickinson's game is he's a facilitator. He's really improved on that. He can get people, he gets a lot of assists per game. He gets a lot of wide open shots for the Wolverines.
Oh, definitely. He's a hell of a passer for Michigan. And Caleb McConnell there gets a traveling call. So Michigan will get the ball right back. Rutgers a little sloppy here on the offensive end.
Yeah, Michigan's been playing good defense so far, so forcing some turnovers.
Brooks, quick step 3, no good. Ron Harper gets the rebound, and here comes Rutgers right back at it. And then Kobe Buffkin commits a foul that I'm sure Phil Martelli's not going to be happy about.
Yeah, honestly, that's just a silly foul just made by an inexperienced player. So when he gets a little bit more time and a little bit more years, that he won't be committing those fouls as much.
Yeah, I think, one thing I've told people a lot is McConnell will get the inbounds in here. I guess I'll say it after this play real quick. Mulcahy backing down Diabate Jones. He had 2 guys on him, then kicks it out to McConnell. Extra pass, Harper. Dribbling in, goes up for the layup and gets it to go. So it's 10-8 here. Brooks will get it to Diabate Jones, who will dribble it up. But Kobe Buffkin, he's shown a lot of flashes, I think, but a lot of inexperience too, which is no surprise to anybody considering he's a freshman.
Yeah, he was a McDonald's All-American in high school, so he's struggled from adjusting to the free-point distance. He's struggled on that. He's also a little bit struggled on defense, which is normal for freshmen, and maybe with the pace of the game, because it gets faster in college from high school. It's a big jump. So right now he's finally showing he's gained some experience and showing some growth, especially that 2 games ago where he scored 10 points off the bench, being really one of the only few Wolverines with some bench production in that game.
Speaking of freshmen, Houston hit the 3 on the last possession for Michigan, and then McConnell went right back with a dunk. So Michigan has it offensively. Houston finds a pass to Diabate Jones on the right wing. Jones looking around, has not taken his dribble yet. We have 8 seconds left on the shot clock. He'll get it going. Diabate Jones driving in, looks for a mid-range, then dumps it off and gets a turnover to Cliff Amore. The fans aren't happy about that. Paul Mulcahy will bring it up.
Yeah, there wasn't enough movement. That's what happened. It became stagnant. Couldn't get a shot off until very late in the clock.
And here's McConnell now on the right wing for Rutgers. McConnell backing down Eli Brooks. Takes it back out, finds Mulcahy at the top of the key. He'll drive in. Extra pass. Gets it to go for Rutgers. That is Mag.
It looks like Michigan's gone to a 3-2 zone, especially with having free guards out there, try to maybe shake up, give them a different look, try to get less, because they have obviously less size than Rutgers right now, so try and get a different look.
Dickinson now will post up here, finds a deep pass to Devontae Jones, extra pass, Houston a three, get it to go at the top of the key. And it is now 16-12 here in Ann Arbor. But like you said, the Wolverines haven't been scared to go to a 2-3 or 3-2 zone at times. They don't here. It's a man-on-man. Mulcahy will try to take advantage. He drives in, gets a little spin-around fadeaway. Doesn't get it to go, though. Eli Brooks the rebound. Brooks surveying. Finds Houston off of a little curl. He then dips it off to Dickinson, who will go right at the bucket and then get fouled by Paul Mulcahy. The Rutgers bench is not happy about that call. We'll get a under 12 media timeout here with 11:49 to go. Michigan's up 16-12.
That's one thing about Caleb Houston's game right now is he's not a very confident cutter/driver yet. He hasn't gotten that part of his game up to speed yet. He's known for his catch and shoot and defense. So obviously that last play he made a little bit of a bad pass to Hunter Dickinson. If he made that a little cleaner, it would have been 2 points right away, but unfortunately got Hunter Dickinson off balance. Made it difficult.
Yeah, I mean, it's good to see Houston, though, being more aggressive, because I think for a span in, early January, it seemed like he kind of fell off. He stopped shooting as much. In general, his three-point shot in January was not very good. His percentage was, I think, like 22 or 23% in January. It was not good. But he's recovered a lot. He's been playing a lot better as of recently, and he's off to a good start right now. In 8 minutes, Houston has 8 points, 8 of their 16 points off 2 threes, and even on that last possession, like you were saying, coming off the little screen on the left wing from Hunter Dickinson, getting the curl action, then trying to find his teammate. It's good to see him being aggressive, right?
Yeah, it's awesome to see him being aggressive. He's shooting well tonight. Last couple of games, he hasn't been shooting as hot, but from free, especially from free, he's been shooting well tonight, 66% right now. See him with Moussa being out, that point production's gone, so someone else has to pick it up. It looks like Caleb has picked it up a little bit, so I see someone else can pick up some of that point production that Moussa left.
Most definitely. Yeah, I mean, like you said, Moussa Diabate has been a big-time contributor for this team as of recently. Of course, he had that 28-point game where he, frankly, single-handedly carried them to that win at Iowa. He's a big presence that Michigan has to replace today. And even Terrance Williams, who's gotten them a few good minutes from time to time, like we said at the top of the broadcast, that kind of relies on Brandon Johns. Is there someone else that you would say is going to get more minutes because of these guys being out that needs to step it up today?
I would say Kobe Buffkin's probably going to get a lot more minutes today. You could also say Jerron Folds. He'd probably be the backup center right now to Hunter Dickinson other than Brandon Johns. So Kobe Buffkin, he needs to bring that bench production because it's been kind of lacking the last couple games, and that's been the main problem for the Wolverines. And against Iowa, he had 10 points off the bench, and that really helped, especially when other players on the starting lineup were having off games. Especially, so it's really for the Wolverines to continue this having a lead, they're going to need more points. Obviously, points wins. You need points. So
it is good to have more points than another team. Right?
Yeah. So Kobe needs to bring some. He's getting a lot more minutes tonight because they're going to probably do a lot of free guard sets, free guard lineups, because they don't have Moussa or Terrance Williams, which are their backup power forwards and frees. Small forwards.
Yeah, I mean, no, that's a good point. And I think we've been waiting for Kobe to really have that game where he's hitting shots because he's aggressive. He doesn't shy away from anything. So if he can hit those shots, man, that would be big for Michigan and big for his development. Dickinson makes the first free throw of the two that he'll have here. As Chrysler gets so quiet, you can hear a pin can drop. Dickinson gets 2 for 2, and the score is 18-12 here in Ann Arbor.
Yeah, like Kobe right now, he's a really good slasher, but he's struggled from shooting, so he's not like a catch-and-shoot type of player right now in offense. He's more of a slasher, driving to the hoop. That's where he is, but hopefully he can show that shot off a little bit here.
Harper's showing a little point guard action right there from Ron Harper. Gets a little shake and bake to go on Hunter Dickinson, and then hits the little layup. Frankie Collins is now in for Michigan. So lineup for the Wolverines is Collins, Eli Brooks, Kobe Buffkin, Hunter Dickinson, and Caleb Houston. Buffkin with the ball in the left corner. Goes to Dickinson in the post. Going up against Reber.
It's going to get.
Dickinson finds a pass out to Caleb Houston. Can he get another? No, that one's short.
He just left that one short.
And here comes McConnell now for Rutgers. On the left wing with Buffkin guarding him. Geo Baker comes around on the curl and then calls a play with Steve Peichel yelling at his guys. Ron Harper now at the very top of the key here for Rutgers. Harper takes it in. Finds a pass out to McConnell. Will go at Kobe Buffkin and then take a contested mid-range and doesn't get it to go. Frankie Collins with the rebound. And here comes Collins, the uber-talented freshman for the Wolverines. Goes to Caleb Houston. Extra pass to Dickinson! And boom goes the dynamite for Hunter Dickinson off the little catch pass, pick and roll from Caleb Houston. What a great play.
Yeah, nice action there by Dickinson to get open and get a wide open dunk.
McConnell now finds Harper. Then back up to number 21, Reber for Michigan. And then Mag gets his pocket picked by Kobe Buffkin, and that ball gets deflected out of bounds. So 10:05 to go. Wolverines lead at 20-14.
Nice defensive play there by Kobe Buffkin. Get the steal right there, get the deflection, get the ball out of bounds. Give him a difficult set play here for Rutgers to run.
And Brandon Johns checks in for Caleb Houston. Rutgers gets the inbounds play going to Geo Baker at the top of the key. He gets a screen from Ron Harper. Baker going at Houston. He'll take another tough fadeaway. This time it goes. Geo Baker. Collins will bring it up for Michigan. Gets a screen from Brandon Johns. Frankie drives it in, then finds a great pass to Buffkin in the right corner for three. No good. He was open. He's got to make that.
Yeah, he's got to make that. It just rolled out, though, so that he got robbed there a little bit.
Yeah. Baker on the offensive end for Rutgers doesn't get a mid-range to go. Here comes Frankie in the front court and then turns it over back to Geo Baker.
Honestly, Frankie's done that where he's tried being a little bit fancy with his passes, and unfortunately they backfire and he turns over the ball. So that's one thing. It's just a freshman mistake. He's just got to get a little bit more experience comes. He'll get better at that.
And Rutgers had a point-blank look right there with Dean Reber with a little floater, but didn't get it to go. And then it looked like it was an over-the-back call, but the refs didn't think so. So Rutgers will have a inbounds pass here. And it'll be number 2, Jalen Miller for Rutgers. The Rutgers lineup right now is Geo Baker, Jalen Miller, Mag, number 3, Andre Hyatt, and Dean Reber. And Andre Hyatt gets a quick layup to go off the inbounds play. A little sloppy defensive stand for Michigan right there.
This is honestly a really interesting lineup for the Wolverines. Not a lot of primary scorers out there. You got Collins, you got Jace Howard, Brandon Johns, Eli Brooks, and Caleb Houston. So really interesting to see where they get points from in this lineup.
And speaking of Jace Howard, he turns it over, and Geo Baker goes back in the offensive end, and Howard comes all the way back and gets a chase down block on Jalen Miller. Way to hustle back there by Jace Howard, though. He turns it over and runs all the way back to get the block.
Yeah, honestly, nice play there by Jace. Jace has a lot of potential. He's a little bit raw right now compared to the other players on the roster, but he has a lot of potential. He's a 4-year player that's going to make a big difference in the 4th year.
Miller gets the inbounds pass to Hyatt. He'll dribble it in with his left hand, throws up a floater, doesn't get it to go off the window. Eli Brooks will bring it back. He has Miller fronting him. Goes down low to Brandon Johns. Hunter Dickinson checked back into the game, by the way, for Caleb Houston. Brandon Johns, a little footwork, but gets blocked by number 3, Mag, for Rutgers. So Eli Brooks will get an inbounds pass. Actually, they'll go with Jace Howard. The score is 20-18 with 8:30 to go. Howard still wearing that black face mask because of I think it's a nose injury.
Yeah, I think he had a broken nose at one point.
Yeah. So he goes to Collins off the inbounds. Michigan trying to set up Eli Brooks off the little screen from Dickinson, and instead Jalen Miller fouls him. That'll be foul number 4 on Rutgers. Yes, foul number 4. Michigan only has 1 foul right now, so.
Yeah, very low fouls for this point in the half.
Yeah. Collins now will get the inbounds off the baseline.
Gotta need some movement here, guys.
Yeah, not too much movement, and then almost throws it out of bounds. Eli Brooks had to go up with one hand and then throw it off Jalen Miller to keep it as Michigan ball there.
Got to get some action there and got to run a set play or something. Got to move. Just standing still, it's not going to get you the ball open.
And now Frankie is in the terror corner, as basketball coaches like to say, at the end of the baseline. It's so hard to inbounds.
Yeah.
And he's struggling here. He goes to Jace Howard, who's stuck in the corner, then finds Dickinson. Michigan gets reset at the top with Eli Brooks, who will drive in off a Dickinson screen. Wanted a step back mid-range, doesn't take it. Dickinson then tried finding Brooks off the curl around and throws it out of bounds.
I like the idea there, but Dickinson just threw a little bit too hard, a little bit too in front of Eli.
Yep, so it's still 20-18 as we approach the 8-minute mark in this first half. Geo Baker will bring it up for Rutgers. He goes to Cliff Amori, back to Baker on the right wing. Then Andre Hyatt has it at the top of the key. Baker gets it back. Phil Martelli watches on, barks some orders. Geo Baker now driving all around the court, doing his best Ish Smith impression. And then a little step back, shake and bake, 3 on Jace Howard, doesn't get it to go. Frankie Collins gets the high rebound. And here comes Michigan. Let's see if they can get something going. Collins with a nice little crossover on Hyatt. And then they go to Eli Brooks at the left corner. He dribbles around. And then takes a little mid-range floater, or fadeaway, and gets it to go.
Nice mid-range shot there by Eli. Nice play. He's looking a little bit more aggressive tonight. I think he understands what's going on without having Moussa and Terrance in the game.
And Rutgers on offense. Looks like they call an offensive foul there. Frankly, I'm not even sure. Oh, they call it on number 3, Mag. I wasn't sure about that call because it didn't look like a moving screen at all on Eli Brooks, but it goes Michigan's way. So 7:16 to go in this first half. The Wolverines lead at 22-18. So going back to, and I'm sure Michigan fans are tired of hearing about this, but going back to the Juwan Howard fiasco of the weekend, what was your view on it? Did you think the suspension was fair? Did you think he should have got more, or did you even think maybe Greg Gard and the Wisconsin guy should have got a suspension?
I thought on Juwan's perspective on his suspension and fine, I felt that was fine. That was a perfect amount of games. Speaking of Wisconsin, I was kind of disappointed in what they gave there. Honestly, if you looked in the video, the assistant did go touch Terrance Williams, and then they had a recruiting director tackle Terrance Williams. Maybe it was pushing to Terrance Williams, that's semantics. They should have got a little bit more than what they got, unfortunately. Greg Gard, he's known around the league that he's not a very nice dude. Last year, I believe half his top leading scorer transferred out, and there's a lot of stuff coming out of that program that didn't look so good for Greg Gard. He's not very well liked, so that's what his reputation in the league is, at least. So
yeah, no, I mean it was a very interesting situation in that I think when it first happened, the immediate reaction by everybody was, "What in the world is Juwan Howard doing?" You know, you simply cannot lay your hands on any other coach. I understand. I'm a Michigan fan. You can't do it. You just can't. And so, for me, the suspension is fair. But I am a little interested in to hear the Big Ten's reasonings as to why Greg Gard didn't receive anything. Because one could argue, and again, it's just a little ticky-tack stuff. It doesn't matter at the end of the day. But Greg Gard was the one who grabbed Juwan Howard and kind of escalated the situation. Joe Krabenhoff was the one who did come in and, like you said, push Terrance Williams. And so I know a lot of Michigan fans were a little salty of hearing that, you know, all Wisconsin got was Andre Heath, number 0, who came in punching Terrance Williams. He only got a 1-game suspension. And then Greg Gard just got a 10K fine. Joe Krabenhoff got nothing. Gard got no game suspensions, nothing. And so it rubbed Michigan fans the wrong way, that's for sure. But, I mean, we'll see, because a lot of people thought that Juwan would be done for the whole year.
Yeah.
I was thinking that might happen too, but just the regular season, just the 5 games, there's still always that crazy possibility that Michigan plays Wisconsin in the Big Ten tournament and Juwan's coaching that game. So we'll have to wait and see. Of course, that is weeks and weeks in the future. When you look at the Big Ten standings right now, the Michigan Wolverines are sitting at 8-7, right behind Michigan State, and I believe that is 8th place. Yes, it is. Rutgers, meanwhile, is 5th at 10-6. So this is a big game in terms of Michigan possibly moving up in seeding for the Big Ten tournament. If they can string together some good games, for all we know, they could go into the tournament as like a 6th seed. We'll see. As we get a little inbounds pass here by the Wolverines, and we get back into basketball action here. We will be, I guess, done with the Juwan Howard talk for now.
Yeah.
Caleb Houston gets the ball on the right wing, finds Dickinson in the low block going against Amori. Harper shades him a little bit. Dickinson doesn't care, and then gets the little pat into left hook to go. So it's 24-18 now.
Nice hook shot there by Dickinson, showing what he's got.
Baker trying to get Rutgers set here. Gets a screen from Amori. He then finds McConnell out left. McConnell will dribble it back out and find a teammate. He finds Baker at the top of the key. Harper then gets a screen from Baker, and he'll try to take advantage of Eli Brooks being on him off the switch. He does. Takes a little fadeaway, gets it to go.
Nice play there by Ron Harper Jr. He recognized the size advantage he had over Eli and took advantage of that.
Brooks then offensively gets a screen from Dickinson, throws up a floater, gets it to go. A smart play by Michigan right there.
Nice aggressive play by Eli.
Baker now offensively gets a screen from Amori. He has Dickinson on him in the post. Amori loses the handle off the pass from Baker. Hyatt goes back to Amori, who goes right at Dickinson and then gets another little floater. We've seen a lot of floaters in this game. I swear I've been announcing that nonstop. But it's 26-22 now with 5:45 to go. Devontae Jones listens to the play from Phil Martelli, who goes to Houston and then down to Hunter Dickinson at the right block. He'll go to work on Amori and then goes with the right-hand hook and gets this one to go. That's something, by the way, that a lot of Michigan fans have been asking for Hunter Dickinson to get doing, which is to start using the right hand more, because come tournament time, teams are going to be ready to stop shading that left shoulder.
Yeah, he's left-handed dominant, so honestly it makes sense. So
a little lucky play offensively for Rutgers. They had an offensive kick ball that landed in Amori's hands, and then he was able to get the bucket to go. Eli Brooks then thought he got fouled on a shot offensively, missed it, then gets his own layup and then misses that one. Ron Harper gets the rebound, and here comes Geo Baker once again. Baker finds Harper. He wanted a three, doesn't take it, goes back to Geo. Now in the right corner, McConnell, a little fadeaway. Wow. Man, these Scarlet Knights take tough shots, but they have been making them.
Yeah. They got a lot of good players on this Rutgers basketball team, so.
Jones finds Dickinson at the top. He will look around as he acts as a point center sometimes for this Michigan team. Sets a screen for Devontae Jones. Will now back up to the block M, dribble around, trying to find guys. He finds Houston. He'll take an immediate three from the corner and misses it.
Problem with that possession, a lot of the Michigan players, there's 4 guys on one side of the court, so it wasn't really like spread out, so they couldn't really get the ball movement and really get the ball action going.
Yeah, offensively then, McConnell brought it up, and then Caleb Houston gets a foul on Andre Hyatt. That is just the second team foul for the Michigan Wolverines. It's 28-26 with 4:12 to go in the first half.
Honestly, they're doing a really good job with fouls, especially being short on the bench and really short in the rotation already, so they know really can't get those tic-tac fouls as much.
Yeah, Harper gets the inbounds pass, goes right to work on Dickinson, takes another tough shot, misses it off the front iron. But that's a good point that, you know, we said this at the top of the broadcast. They can't be getting fouls, and they haven't. Just 2 fouls like we said, so good on the Wolverines. Dickinson, little two-man action with Brooks, gets a little mid-range jumper from the free throw line to go, so it's 30-26 now. Geo Baker points his fingers around, looking for a screen. He'll get it from Dean Reaver, who just checked in. He then finds McConnell, extra pass. He goes in and gets a little contested layup to go.
Honestly, this shouldn't have helped there on Geo, but Hunter should stick with his man there and just let that whole thing unravel for them defensively. Looks like Rutgers is going 2-free zone here. Trying to make Michigan shoot from the outside, challenging them to shoot from the outside, not go inside.
Devontae Jones finds Houston off a little back cut. He misses it, but Brandon Johns gets the tip in. So Paul McKay with the basketball now. Devontae Jones is fronting him. McKay finds Harper. Harper, as he does sometimes, he likes to dribble a lot. He goes right in at Dickinson and draws a foul. Dickinson's not happy with the call. He thought he got a clean block. Instead, it looks like Harper will have 2 free throws with 2:50 to go in the first half. 32-28 is our score here. The Wolverines leading.
Honestly, Rutgers, their guards are really big for guards. So they got like a size advantage on you according to guard play. So they can back you down, especially if you have smaller guards out there guarding their guards. And they got Geo Baker and Ron Harper Jr. are probably the two of the best wing/guard players in the Big Ten. So
yeah, it's funny because every time you watch, Rutgers, they list Ron Harper Jr. as a guard or guard/forward, which is just hilarious because it's a 6'6", massive guy. And you wouldn't think he would be a guard, but he has some pretty good handles on him, like we've seen a few times already. So we'll see if Rutgers continues to take advantage of that. As we have the Lexus car race going here at Chrysler Center. When you look at bracket predictions, though, what do you think of Michigan? Should they be in right now? And what do you think compared to Rutgers, I guess? What
Rutgers resume, it looks so good. I'm surprised that they're not like squarely in the field, especially if like they've won 3 of the last 4 quad 1 games they've played. So honestly, I don't know. I don't get how the net ranking works because that's a lot of it goes into net ranking, which no one really knows how it works that well. Obviously, quad 1 wins and quad 2 wins, and no bad losses really help. For Michigan, honestly, I could see it going either way. They've struggled, but they've shown that they've got a lot of quad 1 opportunities. They just got to win like 3 of these next 5 games or so to be feeling confident about being in the tournament.
Most definitely, and I mean, these are 2 teams that are kind of at the same point of being right on the bubble, but they have very, very different resumes. Rutgers has all of the great wins that any college basketball team would want. The Rutgers Scarlet Knights are 5-3 in quad 1 games. I mean, they've beaten teams like Purdue, Michigan State, Iowa, Ohio State. They've beaten all of those teams. But the reason that they wouldn't be in the tournament for some people, I guess, the argument is the 3 losses that they have to DePaul, to Lafayette, and UMass. I mean, those are bad losses, and it's the reason why Rutgers has 2 quad 3 losses and 1 quad 4 losses. That's what those 3 losses make up. But, some would argue that the quad 1 wins have made up for that completely. Michigan, meanwhile, they have a few solid wins. Purdue is a great win. Indiana and Iowa on the road are pretty good wins. But they don't have too many, but then again, they don't have many bad losses. They only have 1 quad 1 or 1 quad 3 or 1 quad 4 loss, which is the Minnesota loss. But this is a different team, as can be said about Rutgers. And so we'll see what happens. I mean, like you said, I think for Michigan, you would think they need 2-3 wins out of the last 5?
Yeah.
Yeah.
To feel like safely in the field before the Big Ten tournament. Obviously, if you can get a couple wins in the Big Ten tournament, then you don't need to necessarily win 3 games. Maybe you just need to win 2. But, 3 wins, you feel good going into the Big Ten tournament with Juwan taking over as coaching duties again.
Harper takes 2 dribbles from the line and gets the front end of the 2 free throws to go. But yeah, I mean, that's a good point. I think this is probably a Michigan team. I would say if they go 2-3, they'd be right on the bubble going into the Big Ten tournament.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we'll see. But they have all the opportunities ahead of them. Every team they play from here on out, other than maybe the first game of the Big Ten tournament as Harper makes the 2nd free throw, those are all tournament teams.
Yeah.
So all the opportunities, everything's ahead of them. As then Michigan turns it over on the inbounds pass.
Bad pass there by Eli.
Steal, and then we have a charge called. Harper dipped his shoulder right into Devontae Jones. Michigan will get it back.
That's a big foul. That's his 2nd. That's pretty big. Honestly, nice recovery there. That was a really bad inbounds pass there by Eli Brooks. Playing really sloppy there.
And Steve Peichel will take out Ron Harper Jr. and bring in Mawit Mag for Michigan. Brooks again will be inbounding from his own end. A little pressure here. Pressure 5 for Rutgers. Diabate Jones able to bring it back past the midcourt line. He'll get a high screen from Dickinson, go left. He's trying to find some teammates, almost stepped out of bounds and then takes a mid-range and misses it. McConnell gets the rebound.
Not really good shot choice there by Diabate. Off balance, turnaround jumper, not really good. Not what the Wolverines are looking for.
McConnell gets a screen from Dean Reber and then will dribble it back. He's keen on wasting the shot clock and then takes a quick step-up three and gets absolutely swatted by Dickinson. Here comes Michigan on the other end. Houston, a step-up three in transition. No. And out of bounds off Hunter Dickinson. Caleb Houston, he hasn't been afraid today taking those shots. He's 3 for 7 from the field, 2 of 5 from 3. The question will be, can he really start making them? He's been solid so far with 8 points, but Michigan, of course, would like to see more.
Yeah, you would like him to be a little bit more efficient with his free-point shots. He hasn't been super efficient, but...
Baker now offensively drives in off a screen from Reber, then kicks it out. McConnell gets it back to Baker on the right wing. Gio, cross-court pass, Mag. Back out, McConnell, top of the key. He'll go right at Brandon Johnson and get swatted again. That is 2 straight possessions that McConnell has been blocked by a Wolverine. Houston now will kick it back out to Brandon Johnson, who then loses it. Rutgers making up for the blocks.
Brandon Johns had a really 50, like Jekyll and Hyde sequence there. One where he looked really stellar on defense with that block, and then when he got the ball on offense, he just stumbled there and had a turnover.
And it looks like Steve Peichel didn't like the offensive set for Rutgers in the half court there and calls a timeout. That's just the first timeout used by either team. So Rutgers with 3 left in the first, or in this game, Michigan with 4. And it's still 32-30. Neither team scored, I think, over the last 2.5 minutes now.
Yeah, honestly, it's been a struggle for both teams. Both teams have been playing awesome defense. It's been a struggle to get those free-point shots to go down to get points. Really, right, Dickinson is playing a stellar game right now. 12 points, 3 rebounds, and 2 assists, 2 blocks. Looking pretty good right now. Houston was looking really good early on. 2 for 3 from free at one point, but now he's 2 for 6, so he's dropped off a little bit. So maybe I would like to see him get a little bit closer to the basket. Maybe get people to go back off him a little bit, give him a little bit of respect on the defensive side that he has the ability, show the ability he has to drive and get to the basket by himself.
Yeah.
And Johns, honestly, he's looked good on defense. It's just offensively, he's been here and there. He's not been stellar or awful all the time. But
so Mag gets inbounds to G. Baker. Baker looks like just an ISO set for him. They'll go right at Eli Brooks and then miss the shot there. Dickinson brings down the rebound. So Diabate Jones will try to get Michigan going here. Jalen Miller is playing Diabate Jones very high. Dickinson now at the top of the key. Finds Jones at the right wing. He'll drive in and go for a little right-hand layup, but misses it.
Cool. Almost a bad foul there by Diabate, so.
Yeah, so still 32-30. Again, no buckets in the last 2.5 minutes here. Baker is going to waste down this shot clock. There's a 6-second difference between the shot clock and game clock. Dean Reber wants to be the one to take the shot here. He does, but misses it off the front iron. Diabate Jones will race forward in transition and then have it tipped out of bounds off Gio Baker. So 8.7 seconds to go. Does Phil Martell use a timeout? Yes, he does.
He really wants to get if he can get a 2-basket differential at the end of the half, that's big. As many points differential at the bit. Really don't want Rutgers to have another opportunity here, so really want to wait, get this clock down to 2 seconds, and that's when you fire.
Yeah, I mean, this is something that I think a lot of coaches, especially in the college game with less experienced guys, really like to take timeouts right before the half to just get a bucket going to the half, get that momentum going. For Michigan, no buckets in the last 3 minutes. Rutgers in the last 2:40. So we'll see if the Wolverines can stop that and try to, like you said, get up 2 possessions. We'll see if they can. Who would you go to, by the way, off this inbounds pass?
Obviously, the number one option is Hunter Dickinson, if you can get him open somehow down towards the base. But honestly, if you can get the ball in Eli Brooks, he's been the most dangerous from 3-point as well as two, as well as driving. So he has all three assets of the game. He can pass the ball as well too. But obviously he's inbounding the ball, so you don't really want to give it to him. So Hunter or Devontae Jones here, and maybe try to set Adrian Nunez up for open free. Obviously he's out, or Caleb Houston up for open free.
So we'll see where they go. Brooks gets inbounds to Dickinson. Devontae Jones now gets at the right wing. They're wasting some time. They go to Caleb Houston, who has it kicked off of him and out of bounds. Rutgers gets it right back off the Michigan turnover with 1.3 to go. Martelli will get a quick defensive substitution with Juwan Howard coming in, number 44. And Rutgers gets an offensive substitution with Ron Harper coming in.
He doesn't want Hunter to get a cheap foul here, so try and preserve him, try to get him out.
Yeah, that's the same reason that Nunez is coming in for Devontae Jones. Or excuse me, not Devontae Jones. Here we go, Harper off the inbounds. No. Little tough fadeaway three, and
he almost made it though.
Yeah, off the front iron and no good. So we finished this first half with no buckets in the last 3 minutes of this game. But Michigan leads it 32-30, a defensive battle. How do you think Michigan's feeling, and how is Phil Martelli feeling after this first half?
Honestly, just to be up by anything right now, you gotta be feeling good, especially when you don't have foul trouble. You gotta be feeling really good going into the second half. Gotta feel good looking. So Hunter's looking good. Houston's looked good at points. Jones has looked good at points. Eli's also looks good at points. So really, if you're the Wolverines, you gotta be feeling good about yourself right now, especially being out with your head coach and two of your rotational players, one starter, and Moussa Diabate. So you gotta be feeling good.
Yeah, no, I mean, I was going to say, with all the Juwan Howard stuff, they have to be happy with their interim coach, Phil Martelli. You have the lead against a good team at Rutgers right now. So they have to be pretty happy. Real quick before we go to break here, who does Michigan need to look for more in the second half?
Honestly,
they got with Dickinson, or where do you go?
I think you got to go to Eli Brooks. He's really the most consistent person from 3-point this game. You just need to get him more, like, overall in his career, he's been the most consistent person for free. And he just needs to be a little bit more aggressive. He has really good feel with his passes. He's a little bit less turnover prone than Devontae Jones or Frankie Collins, and maybe a little bit Caleb Houston. A little bit better dribbler than Caleb Houston. So really just get him the ball, see if he can be dynamic, get the ball going, get the ball moving, get people open, and this really put some pressure on this Rutgers defense.
Yeah, most definitely. And I mean, I would definitely agree with you on those two guys. We'll see. Who knows? Maybe they get a freshman like Caleb Houston, like you said, or Kobe Buffkin, or someone else coming in and coming up with a big-time play. Because Michigan, when they get in droughts, they really need somebody, just one guy, to just take it over. And so we'll see if that happens. Because like we said earlier, the beginning of the second half has been a rough point for this team all season long. So watch out for that. We'll see. But that will do it for our first half coverage. My name is Neal Sinha, alongside with Zach Balogh. We'll have Kelin Flynn and William Gregory coming in for the second half. So make sure to stay tuned, and we'll be back right after this halftime break.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Ann Arbor in the Chrysler Center as the Wolverines head back onto the floor to face the Scarlet Knights of Rutgers. I'm here, Kelin Flynn, alongside my partner, William Gregory. At the half, the score is 32-30. The Wolverines up by 2. And William, well, let's break down this first half here. What did you see from the Wolverines that you really liked?
What I liked was the dominance inside of Hunter Dickinson and Caleb Houston having a rough shooting night, but he has put the ball in the bucket. He's got 8 points. But Dickinson has just been able to overpower Rutgers' big man Cliff Omori, as well as Meko Mag, the other big man for Rutgers, and has been able to put in 12 points on 5 of 8 shooting, 2 of 2 from the line. What I also like to see from this Michigan team so far has been their rebounding. They have 20 rebounds total so far in this game. What's unique about that is that Diabate Jones has 5 rebounds so far tonight in the first half. He's on track for a double-double, 6 points, 5 rebounds. But besides from what I liked from Michigan, I'll go into what I didn't like. Was I saw a lot of ball stopping, and especially on both sides. There has not really been a rhythm to either of these offenses tonight. Not a lot of passes leading to buckets. We haven't seen that reflected in the assist total. But if the Wolverines want to pull ahead in this second half, I think that they need to engage their sort of free-flowing offense with Diabate Jones being able to pick up a lot of different assists to a lot of different shot makers instead of maybe dumping the ball off to Dickinson in the post or taking a shot at the end of the shot clock.
Yeah, it's interesting because Rutgers is a pretty good passing team. They're 5th in the Big Ten in assists per game, so a little bit uncharacteristic for them to kind of have more of a stagnant offense. From the Wolverines, we've seen that at times throughout the season, that the offense can kind of simply just be a dump down into Hunter Dickinson and you pass the ball around until you can get that look inside and just let Dickinson go to work, instead of more of a free-flowing offense where you have a lot of different actions and different guys getting open looks. But one of the big reasons for that is, like you mentioned, the shooting from the Wolverines from the perimeter has been subpar, to say the least, many times throughout this season. But in this second half, the Wolverines are going to need to keep it up and get that shooting to a better clip, because 20% won't cut it against a team like Rutgers that has been red hot, winning 4 of their last 5, all 5 against ranked opponents. The Scarlet Knights have knocked off the Buckeyes of Ohio State, Michigan State Spartans, the Fighting Illini of Illinois, and the Wisconsin Badgers, their lone loss coming to Purdue on Sunday. So this is a team that's been battle-tested as of late, and they are definitely not going to drop the intensity here in this second half.
Yeah, absolutely. And before we get the second half underway, I just want to say how excited I am that me and Kelin get to share the headsets together for the first time since, I think, early 2019 or late 2018 when we called our high school basketball teams games. Ever since COVID and our first couple years at Michigan, we haven't been able to do it, but this is the first time in a long time that we've been able to call a game together, and I'm really excited for the second half.
And the buzzer sounds. The Scarlet Knights are on the floor. The Wolverines still in the huddle without head coach Juwan Howard. As many of you may know, I'm sure they talked about it in the first half. Juwan Howard with the incident at Madison in Wisconsin with Greg Gard and that entire Wisconsin coaching staff, the scuffle at the end of the game. So it is Phil Martelli leading the Wolverines tonight, and he's looked good so far in his debut for the Maize and Blue. Very experienced head coach at St. Joe's. And Caleb Houston will inbound from the sideline to Diabate Jones. It's Jones, it's Brooks, Houston, Brandon Johns, and Hunter Dickinson on the court for the Wolverines. Johns in for the suspended Moussa Diabate. And the Wolverines will get underway. It's Dickinson at the top of the key with the ball. Finds Diabate Jones, little pick and roll action. Out to Brandon Johns. Johns probing, can't get anything going. Back out to Jones at the top of the key. Pick and roll with Johns. It's a double screen. Dickinson. Jones going baseline. Shot is blocked. Back out. And it's Dickinson. Little short corner shot, no good. Rebounded by McConnell.
Yeah, again, not a great offensive set there by the Wolverines.
just couldn't really get anything going, and Harper will attack for the Scarlet Knights. Pass inside to Amori. No good, stolen by the Wolverines, and they look to get out in transition. It's Houston and Jones. Houston slows it down, gets to the cup, and draws a foul.
That was a nice move by Houston on McConnell. I would have liked it if he got inside to take that layup a bit sooner before he hit the bottom of the bucket, but at least he gets to the line.
And he had Devontae Jones there coming on that opposite rail. Decided to take it himself. On the floor for the Scarlet Knights, it's Gio Baker, Paul Mulcahy, Caleb McConnell, Ron Harper Jr., and Clifford Amori, as Caleb Houston knocks down the first from the charity stripe.
Yeah, Houston, a 75% free throw shooter. He is obviously one of Michigan's best shooters so far this year, and hopefully these couple of free throws can get his shooting woes under control so far this game. He's only 3 for 8, has 8 points.
And one of the big differences between these two teams is the Wolverines, a very young team. The Scarlet Knights, loaded with upperclassmen, 3 seniors and a junior. The lone sophomore is Amori in that starting 5. Wolverines, a lot of youth on this team, and it's shown at times throughout the season.
They're one of the youngest teams in the country.
Mulcahy from the wing, three-pointer, bounces off the front iron and in.
Mulcahy, mostly known as a passer for this team with the ball dominance of Gio Baker and Ron Harper, but he makes that three-pointer there, and that's Rutgers' first three-pointer of the game.
And Mulcahy shoots at about 35% on the season from distance, so he can get it done. As Jones with a nice drive right to the cup.
Nice move there by Jones.
Snakes through a couple defenders and lays it up for the deuce. Scores 36-33 with about 18:25 remaining in the contest. It's Mulcahy on the wing again. He gets a screen from Amori. And Brandon Johns pokes that one loose. Dives on the floor and has a steal for the Wolverines.
Great hustle there by Johns. He's played really well so far today. And this team has needed it with the absence of Diabate and Terrance Williams.
And they're going to get Mulcahy for the foul, jumping on top of Brandon Johns. And that's the hustle you need when a guy like Moussa Diabate is out of the lineup, who typically brings that spark, that hustle play for the Wolverines. It's a screen and roll with Dickinson and Jones. Jones looking to get downhill, finds a cutting Johns. Johns goes up for it, and it's a jump ball called in the air. Possession arrow in the favor of the Scarlet Knights.
Yeah, I think that's a good call there. It looked like the Rutgers defenders were going straight up. But I think that was an instance of Rutgers really defending that pick and roll to Dickinson well. I think most of Dickinson's offense has come on back to the basket plays rather than passes inside on those pick and rolls.
And Gio Baker will look to get something going for the Scarlet Knights here in the second half. Quiet first half for Baker as he finds Ron Harper at the top of the key. Straightaway 3, no good. Rebound by McConnell. Back out to Baker. Baker will pull it from the wing, and he's off the back iron. Another rebound by McConnell. It's tipped away by Houston, but recovered by the Scarlet Knights. They'll slow it down with Baker at the block end at center court. Brooks defending. Screen and roll. Lob to Amori, and he throws it down with 2 hands.
Michigan just getting shown out on the boards there. Dickinson really the only guy I think you'd be comfortable grabbing rebounds over guys like Amori and Harper, as well as Mag.
And Amori, a premier lob threat in the Big Ten. Got great length, great leaping ability as Jones scoops one up and in from the right side for 2.
Really good shot there by Jones, getting that ball over the defender's arm span. He's got 10 points.
And Amori, a very effective shot blocker for the Scarlet Knights. Jones knows that and able to get it over the top. The Maze Rage making their presence known here. It's McConnell with it. Backing down Devontae Jones. Getting into the lane. And a foul called on Jones. Jones was straight up, holding his arms up for added effect.
Yeah, that's a tough call, but Caleb McConnell has been feeling himself so far tonight. He only averages 6 points a game, but he's hit some tough shots, a fadeaway, tough layup earlier, and he's already got 6 points. Go to the line to exceed his scoring average here.
McConnell, one of the best defenders in the country, premier defender in the Big Ten. Over 20 steals ahead of the next closest player in the conference for the lead. steals the ball at a clip of about 2.5 a game. And that's something that head coach Steve Peichel loves to see from his premier wing defender. He knocks down the first at the line, bounces it a couple times, goes into his motion for the second as it rims out, rebounded by Johns.
McConnell only a 68% free throw shooter, so not surprising that one rimmed out.
And the Scarlet Knights imposing a bit of a three-quarter court press here. Wolverines have a little bit of trouble breaking it, but able to get it past half court and get into their set. It's a screen and roll with Jones and Dickinson. And that pass out to Brooks is tipped, recovered by the Scarlet Knights. And it's thrown down in transition. Amori again picks up the loose ball and stuffs that one home with two hands.
Yeah, Caleb Houston made a nice recovery on that play, but nothing you can do 3-on-2, especially with a guy like Amori.
Scarlet Knights continuing the pressure. Wolverines break it with ease this time. It's Brooks on the wing, looking to run the show for Michigan. Hunter Dickinson directing traffic in the middle. He's got it at the top of the key. Amori defending, trying to free Eli Brooks. Devontae Jones, pump fake. He'll pull a wing three as the shot clock goes down. Misses, rebound by Johns inside, kicks it back out. Houston, he'll pull a wing three, and he knocks it down. Caleb Houston, his third three of the night.
Like I said earlier, those free throws hopefully unlock something in Caleb Houston for this second half. He makes his first shot from the field.
And the Scarlet Knights can't get it to go on the other end. Rebound Dickinson. Wolverines will look to push. Devontae Jones finds Houston in the corner. Pump fake, pulls it, knocks it down. Caleb Houston is feeling it here in the second half. Back-to-back triples from the freshman out of Mississauga.
Peichel's got to call a timeout.
The Wolverines extend their lead to 6 with about 15 minutes remaining.
Yeah, Caleb Houston's been the key all year. If you get his shooting going in any game, you're in it. Being 4 for 8 from 3 today has been a big boon for this Wolverine offense. He's still not shooting it as high. He's just such a talented player that you can't afford to have him not be, if not the focal point next to Hunter Dickinson, the 1B.
Absolutely, and he was one of the guys coming into the season that the coaching staff, the fan base, everyone was really excited about. Very highly touted recruit from Montverde Academy in Florida. And we've seen a number of highly talented players come through that school and go on to have great success at the collegiate level and in the NBA level. Cade Cunningham, a recent example of that. Scotty Barnes, both came through one and dones, played there. And Caleb Houston definitely has that decision coming up. Wasn't necessarily the performance that he probably was hoping for or expecting coming into his first collegiate season. So he'll have that decision coming around this spring, but for the moment the Wolverines have to be excited with the way he's been shooting it.
Yeah, and hopefully you're shooting better than 40% if you go to the NBA. I think he does have the talent to make it in that league, but I think he still needs a little bit more seasoning in the college ranks, especially an opportunity to prove himself in the NCAA tournament, which we'll see if he has that opportunity this year. It's not trending in that direction. But another thing, we're 5 minutes into the second half. Michigan leading 44-38. Something we haven't talked about yet is Ron Harper Jr. He has 10 points, but all those points were scored in the first half. Has not scored so far in the second. He missed a 3 on that last possession for Rutgers. The Rutgers Scarlet Knights are 7-0 when he scores more than 20 points in a game. He did score 27 points in the last game against the Wolverines on January 4th in the Rutgers win. So the Wolverines have played really good defense coming out of halftime against him, and he is the key to this game for Rutgers. And if Michigan's able to stop him and Geo Baker, the other guard for the Scarlet Knights, only scored 2 points, I think it's a good indication that Michigan's going to win this game.
Yeah, the Scarlet Knights, it's a two-man show really between Baker and Harper. Those are the guys that make that offense hum, and they're not a great offensive team. Bottom 3 in the Big Ten in points per game, but in February they've been up to about 74 points per game. On the season they're at 68 points per game. They've been really hot this month, and this is a win that the Wolverines desperately need with all the turmoil coming from the weekend. The Wolverines have a very gauntlet of a schedule coming up, and they need to get all the wins they can if they want to have a chance at making the tournament come March. Harper into the lane, dishes off to Amori, and he throws it down with one hand.
He is just so long and quick to be able to dunk that ball. It's not something that you normally see in college, but he is such a fluid athlete.
And if you watch the game against Purdue, he was a monster in that game, throwing down dunks all over Purdue's big man Zach Edey. As Eli Brooks will slow it down on the wing, waits for a screen from Dickinson, tries to get into the lane. Shot clock running down. Dickinson passes out. It's a three, no good from Bufkin. Rebounded by the Scarlet Knights, and McConnell will advance.
Yeah, Michigan had a good shot to kind of break that Rutgers hybrid switching zone defense with that three there. They just haven't been able to convert.
And head coach Steve Peichel prides himself on the defensive end of the floor. That's the kind of team this Rutgers team is. They're going to win games with defense. And Amori has it. Dickinson defending on the block, goes up strong and finishes through contact. Man, Amori has been rock solid in this second half for Rutgers as he cuts the Wolverine lead to 2 with about 13:45 remaining.
Well, we've seen him as an athlete, but I don't think we've seen that face-up game so far. He does have a little bit of a mid-range game as well, so we'll have to look for that.
Dickinson struggles to control it in the corner. They'll post up on Amori. They bring the double with Harper. Swing pass to Bufkin. Bufkin gets into the lane, dishes it back out to Brooks. Brooks fumbles it a little bit, and Houston gets a shot off at the buzzer, no good. Rebounded by Amori, a botched possession there for the Wolverines.
It was a nice pass by Dickinson, but I think that extra pass needed to be made by Bufkin to the corner for the three-pointer.
I completely agree as McConnell gets into the lane. Contact there from Bufkin, not called. Dickinson boards it, and will send it out in transition. Bufkin finds Jones. Jones, little floater from the charity stripe, knocks it down.
Diabate bails out Kobe on that play. I think Bufkin was a little bit hesitant on that possession on the left wing. Gets it off to Diabate. Diabate makes that really long floater. Surprising shot from Jones.
Devontae Jones guarding Paul Mulcahy. Mulcahy looks to attack off the screen from Amori. Gets in the lane, double clutch. Can't find the rim as it's rebounded by Dickinson, who outlets it to Bufkin. Eli Brooks passes it back to Dickinson. Dickinson in the screen and roll game with Jones. Jones, little pull-up mid-range jumper. It's good.
Jones he's been great. He's got 14 points. He's 6 of 10 from the field. Still got those 6 rebounds. He added an assist since halftime. I think he has been the leader of this Michigan team so far coming out of the break.
And it's always been Dickinson all year. It's been all about finding that second piece who can provide that secondary punch, and Devontae Jones is providing it today. As Ron Harper Jr. finishes through the contact on Dickinson inside, he'll go to the line for a three-point play. And we'll hit the media timeout. Wolverines up 4, scores 48-44, 12 minutes remaining in the half.
Yeah, Harper making that and one shot right before this timeout is not really what you want to see. We talked about Harper being the key to success for the Scarlet Knights so far this year. He's probably their most talented player as a guard. He's a little bit thicker than his dad, but he's got a different type of game. I just do not think, under any circumstances, you can let him dictate how Rutgers gets back into this game. You need to guard him above all costs. Geo Baker, who has not played so well so far today, he's 1 for 6 from the field, only 2 points. He averaged a bit under 15 points in their past 5 games with the 4 wins over top teams. And you'd like to see him in their first unranked game in that long be able to convert some of those shots. He just hasn't been able to. I think Amori's really bailed out the Scarlet Knights so far. McConnell's had a good game as well, but Harper is the key.
And that's absolutely right. Harper is the guy that makes this offense hum for Rutgers. When he's going, they're a dominant team. But when he's struggling to find his shot and he's held in check, there aren't a ton of other guys in this lineup that the Scarlet Knights can look to provide a scoring punch. And for the Wolverines, without Moussa Diabate, without Terrance Williams, Diabate a starter and Terrance Williams a key bench piece, they've been able to get it done. Brandon Johns has really stepped back into that starting role that he had at the beginning of the season and had a solid game so far. Not necessarily a ton of points on the scoreboard, but he's getting it done.
He's got 5 rebounds. He's played good defense. And unlike some other previous games, I think he's known where he has been on the floor. A lot of players on this Michigan team, you've seen some brain freezes sometimes, but I think Johnson's played well. He is 5th on the team in minutes with 20 so far. Kobe Buffkin started, but he's only got 9 minutes. Another thing, Eli Brooks has really not played well either. He's only got 4 points, 2 of 6 from the field. It's led to Michigan being top-heavy in who has scored the most so far in this game. Dickinson's got 12, Jones has got 14. Houston's got those 16 points with the 2 threes earlier. It's been sort of a problem for Michigan all year that they haven't been able to find balanced scoring throughout their lineups, but they played well so far, well enough to hold the lead against a surging Rutgers team.
Yeah, and the bench especially is really young for the Wolverines. You have guys like Kobe Buffkin, guys like Frankie Collins, Terrance Williams. Obviously he's out today, but these are the main bench pieces that are coming in, and that's a lot of freshmen. Terrance Williams, a sophomore.
Well, you're really only going 3 deep on the bench, and Jace Howard's only played 2 minutes.
Jace Howard, another younger guy, he's a sophomore. Didn't see a lot of time last season, but getting some minutes here in his sophomore season due to some injuries, and he plays really hard on the defensive end, and no matter what coach you play for, that's going to earn you minutes.
Yeah, I'd be surprised if he got out on the floor with such a close game right now, given some of the mental mistakes he had earlier in the first half. But we'll see if anyone can get tired. I mean, the starters right now are on track to play most of the whole game.
On the floor for the Wolverines, it's Collins, Buffkin, Houston, Brooks, and Dickinson. And a little bit of a stoppage in play here as Harper checks in with his head coach. And he'll head up to the charity stripe. 12 minutes to go in a really tight Big Ten battle. Scarlet Knights surging as of late. Wolverines trying to keep their season alive. Harper knocks it down from the free throw line, cuts the lead to 3. And for the Scarlet Knights, it's been all Harper and all Amori.
Well, Amori gets subbed out here for Andre Hyatt. They do have Mag in the game as well. Those are the 2 big men that they're rocking with to start.
And the Scarlet Knights re-implementing that 3-quarter court pressure. Wolverines able to break through. It's Eli Brooks directing traffic, finding Collins. Wolverines looking to get into their set here. It's a pick and roll with Brooks and Dickinson. Brooks trying to find a crease, able to get into the lane. Tough scoop shot. Gets it to go, Eli Brooks.
Well, what a move by Brooks. No prayer that Mag had to stop that drive to the basket by a determined Brooks as a bigger man.
Mulcahy backing down Collins. Great defense from Frankie Collins. And Mulcahy is called for the travel. Tremendous defense from Frankie Collins, the freshman. And there's a timeout, media timeout, as the sub-12 media timeout kicks in here.
Really not what Rutgers wanted out of that initial media timeout. You get the free throw from Harper, but I think it's been a problem whenever Amori's not on the floor, especially with the contributions Baker has not been giving you. Mulcahy has not really looked good. McConnell's also not on the floor. It's tough for this Rutgers team to play well without their true starters in the lineup. You've seen them start that same starting 5 since before Christmas. They've had a long streak of Baker, Mulcahy, Omori, McConnell, and Harper all starting, and it's rare that they go deeper than like 3 into their bench. So they need the starters to perform, and it's not really happening. Well, they need the bench to perform in case of the starters missing time.
And that trio of Mulcahy, Baker, and Ron Harper Jr. is the group that propelled them to their first NCAA tournament berth in 30 years last season, and they were able to knock off Clemson in that first round as the 10-7 upset. But Scarlet Knights have 8 quad 1 wins. I believe that leads the nation.
They played really well.
They've made a strong case to get back into the tournament, and a lot of that will potentially depend on how they play in the Big Ten tournament, but I think they've made a strong case, really, regardless.
Well, they're 5-0 against all the ranked Big Ten teams that are ranked currently. They have a 5-1 record against ranked teams in general. They lost to a fellow New Jersey team in Seton Hall, which Michigan also lost to here in Ann Arbor earlier this year. Another thing about Rutgers is they've secured back-to-back winning seasons for the first time in 30 years since those tournament berths in the early 90s, late 80s. So it's been a slow burn for Steve Peichel. I know that it's taken a while to reach this point, but Rutgers has looked promising. They beat Michigan for the first time in basketball earlier in January. They still haven't won here at Chrysler Arena. They have a chance to do that tonight. But it's been looking good, and I think Rutgers as an athletic department has been looking a lot better in terms of their play in the Big Ten. Maybe trying to get ahead of Maryland, I'd say, in a lot of different sports, including basketball.
And the Scarlet Knights, a lot of people wrote them off at the start of the season. They had a couple really bad losses early in the year in November, December, but they've really been able to turn it around, like you said, against their ranked opponents. They've played really well. And for a team that a lot of people kind of kicked to the side in the beginning of the year, they've came back in a really big way and have asserted themselves as a team that, even in the Big Ten tournament especially, maybe they don't win the whole thing, but they could definitely, I don't think anyone would be surprised if they knocked off an Indiana, Wisconsin, or excuse me, an Illinois, Wisconsin, a Purdue type team, one of the favorites, and kind of shook that whole thing up. Full court pressure now from the Scarlet Knights as we get back into the action. The Wolverines up 5, 50-45 with 11:20 to go. Frankie Collins and Eli Brooks in the backcourt. It's Houston, Bufkin, and Dickinson rounding out the 5 on the floor for Michigan. Brooks getting into the lane. Tough shot, and he hits it. Eli Brooks just kind of threw that up there, and it goes through cleanly.
Yeah, that's one of those shots where you're like, no, what are you doing? And then he makes it, and you're like, oh, that was a good shot all along.
Mulcahy finds Baker. It's Brooks guarding, gets a screen, steps back. Collins switches on into the lane. It's Baker, no good. Off front iron, rebounded by the Wolverines, and Bufkin's going to push it in transition. Scarlet Knights
hesitant to go in on defense.
And Bufkin knocks down the triple. Kobe Bufkin has been inefficient at times from 3 this season, but able to bang that one home in transition, extending the Wolverine lead to 10. Mulcahy in the lane, no good. Rebounded by Brooks. That one was knocked away by Dickinson. And Michigan going on a bit of a run here, looking to extend their lead. Houston in the corner, pump fakes. Finds Bufkin. Bufkin fumbles with it a little bit, but able to get it out to Frankie Collins. Collins, screen from Dickinson. Shake and bake here into the lane, kick out. Brooks, he'll take a deep 3. Rims out.
Well, we've talked about the supporting cast besides Jones, Dickinson, and Houston stepping up. They've stepped up so far in this latter half of the second half.
And Baker finds Mulcahy in the corner. He'll back down Bufkin. Gets into that block, able to turn around, little hook shot, no good. Rebound goes to Dickinson, and he'll find Frankie Collins in transition. Collins, one of the most athletic players on this team, with a fantastic finish. How about that from Frankie Collins? Euro step, reverse layup, through some contact, and this crowd loves it.
Another timeout for Rutgers. They have been an absolute mess for the past couple minutes. I don't know what you're doing running isolation with Paul Mulcahy in the post. I mean, from what we've seen, he's not been able to shoot it at all today. He's 2 for 8 with 5 points. And you got a guy like Cliff Emarui. He's 6 for 7 with 12. I just don't know what they're doing out of these timeouts, calling these plays for players that have not been making plays so far today.
And Mulcahy didn't have a bad shot there. He was able to get Bufkin, back him down, and get into the paint. It's just, it was crowded with Dickinson, and
he's not the player for that type of shot.
No. I think if you're Steve Peichel, you have to be looking for your guys that have been doing it for you today. Geo Baker's been inefficient, but you got to find him, find Harper, scheme him up a look, and even Amori, who's been great when you get him inside, get Geo Baker and Amori in a pick and roll action to create some lob opportunities.
Absolutely. Frankie Collins and Kobe Bufkin have stepped up along with Eli Brooks. Those guards have needed to come in and do that, especially with the lack of forward depth. They've played pretty physical brand of basketball with the rebounds they've pulled in. Collins has got 3 rebounds. Brooks has got 4. Jones has got 6 rebounds. Besides Dickinson, they're leading the team in that statistic. But they've finally shown through scoring the basketball, and that's really helped Michigan get out to this 12-point lead.
And like you've mentioned, it's starting to come from different areas now. It's not just Dickinson and Houston and Jones. Eli Brooks getting a couple to fall. Frankie Collins in transition, who is just so fun to watch in open space. He is so athletic and able to make shots that a lot of other players on this team can't.
Well,
a stoppage in play here. Not quite sure what happened there.
I think Steve Peichel's getting into it with the referee a bit.
And the Maze Rage looking for a technical here. Getting a tee him up chant. It's a pool party tonight here at Chrysler. Student section decked out in their Hawaiian t-shirts, a couple of pool noodles and floaties dispersed throughout tonight. And it's Amori with it in the short corner. Dickinson defending. Amori will look to back him down. There's a top of the key 3, no good.
Rutgers has not looked good from 3 so far today at all. They're still 1 for 8. Top or bottom half shooting from 3 so far this year.
Bufkin getting into the lane, gets high it up in the air and finishes through the contact with the left hand. Kobe Bufkin, the freshman, making things happen here in the second half for the Wolverines. Geo Baker into the lane, and he'll draw a foul.
He came up a little lame on that shot. Rutgers needs to hope that Geo Baker can make these free throws and get back into this game. He's still 1 for 7, only 2 points. He came into this game only 11 points away from entering the top 10 in Rutgers all-time scoring. He needs 12 points to pass the number 10 scorer in Rutgers history. And he just hasn't gotten it done so far today. We talked about he's averaging about he's averaging 11 points this year. He averaged just under 15 points during the win streak. It's just been tough for him to find offense so far.
And Steve Peichel, when you're down now 13, pending this free throw, potentially 12, still plenty of time left, but Rutgers is not a team that shoots a ton of threes. They're bottom, and they're also bottom 4 in the conference in free throw percentage, so you don't want to get into a situation where you're looking to, where the Wolverines can foul you and put you on the free throw line and kind of salt away this game. But they also make the second fewest threes per game in the conference, so they've got to start now because this is not an explosively offensive team that can just make a bunch of threes and get back in an instant. As Dickinson will post up Amori, little hook shot, gets it to go.
Dickinson's first points of the second half come on that nice hook shot. He's hit one earlier in the first half.
Hunter Dickinson, his patented hook shot there. Geo Baker falls away and hits over Frankie Collins. And maybe all it took is those 2 from the charity stripe to get Geo Baker back on track. It's Bufkin looking to get into the lane. Pump fake. Finds Houston in the corner. Houston out to Brooks. McConnell defending, one of the better defenders in the conference. Inside to Dickinson. Houston loses it, but there is some contact, and Caleb Houston draws the whistle.
Yeah, one of the hallmarks of a great Big Ten center is the ability to pass out of the post when you're being double teamed. And Hunter's shown the ability to do that so far today. Earlier in this game, I don't think the opportunities he was giving out to his teammates were being converted. But now we've seen layups come off those passes, free throws, extra passes to three-pointers. And we talked about it before the second half started. The offense just was being stopped. And there was ball stopping within the offense, and they weren't continuing to pass the ball around the horn. They weren't creating out of bad situations. They were kind of just letting the bad situations happen. They turn the ball over, take a bad shot. But now you've seen a lot more patience within the offense, the ability to find the open man following these double teams, because they're double teaming Hunter Dickinson every time he goes into the post. We've seen a lot of growth so far from the first half, and I don't know what Phil Martelli told them at halftime, but it obviously was something good with how they've played so far.
Yeah, they've looked great in this second half. Offense really been clicking. It's only 32 points in the first half, and up to 61 here with 7:43 to go. Scarlet Knights have been held in check. Score 61-49. And Michigan has looked really solid under the guidance of Phil Martelli tonight against a surging Rutgers team. And this is, like I've mentioned already, this is a win that Michigan really needs. Rutgers is, I think, seen by many now as a quality team. This will be seen as a quality win. And the Wolverines have the opportunity to pick up a few more of those with their upcoming schedule against Ohio State, Iowa.
Skating Michigan State. Michigan State has not looked good the past.
Yes, Michigan State has not looked very good, but still Illinois, Michigan State, Iowa, Ohio State in that order coming up. 3 of those 4 at home. You have to think, including this Rutgers game, these final 5 games of the season, Wolverines have to go 4-1 if they want any chance, and probably get a couple wins in the Big Ten tournament too.
Michigan, I think, is still predicted a lot as a play-in team just because of the prominence of the brand. We'll see how the Howard suspension factors into the optics of letting a team like Michigan into the tournament with maybe not the greatest resume. I don't know if they'd want to send another Big Ten team in and skip a mid-major team that's had a more deserving season, I'd say. But from what we've seen, Michigan's really played well in the Big Ten so far in these past couple games. And with the slipping of Michigan State, Michigan actually has the opportunity, I think, to move into the 6th seed to the Big Ten tournament if they beat Michigan State, because Michigan's still a 7th seed right now.
I believe Michigan's a half game back right now, and a win tonight would put them into a tie. Obviously, Michigan State with the tiebreaker right now, so not a huge deal. But that game against Michigan State on March 1st could hold a lot of weight in Big Ten tournament seeding, because that 6th and 7th seed, it's a big difference the way the Big Ten tournament is structured.
Yeah, and we'll be calling all those games, Illinois, Michigan State, Iowa. We're going to see if we can call Ohio State. Still a little bit of travel logistics, but I'll be on 3 or 4 of those games if all goes well. I'm really excited for this home stretch to the season.
Caleb Houston at the charity stripe knocks down the first. And for the Wolverines, that inside-out game has been something they've struggled with all year. They've had the inside game, obviously, with Hunter Dickinson, but finally the shots are falling. How does that affect Hunter Dickinson's ability to work inside, William?
Well, we've seen Dickinson get double-teamed, and if he has the ability to pass out of those double teams to open shooters that can knock down shots, that adds a really big dimension to this offense that we haven't really seen. It's crucial that those shooters can make those shots when they give them the opportunity. Houston makes them both from the line as Harper fades away and hits. And that's exactly what you need if you're the Scarlet Knights. Get it to your best player and just let him go to work. He's a ball player, that's for sure. He has proven over the past few years that he is a great player.
Dickinson takes it up the court to relieve the pressure, and Devontae Jones back into the game for Michigan will look to lead the show. Bufkin earning some minutes with his stellar play. He's still on the floor. And it's Hunter Dickinson looking to back down Amori. Little hook shot, no good. Rebounded by Mawat.
Yeah, I don't like that shot as much as the other hook shots we've seen. It was a little bit too far out and too well defended.
Mawat Mag, little short corner pull-up shot, no good. Rebound goes to Devontae Jones. He's been a force on the boards tonight from that point guard position.
7 rebounds.
As he throws that one away, Mawat Mag with the steal. Finds Geo Baker. Baker looking to attack Jones. Finds Harper on the wing with Houston defending. Harper sizing him up. Looks to attack, gets in, and can't hit.
Yeah, Harper's the man, and I think he's finding himself forcing shots to get back into this one. Rutgers hasn't really been in a situation where Harper has played as well as he has, and they're down in a game like this.
And like we've mentioned earlier, Rutgers a defensive team, not a great offense, as Dickinson wanted to throw that one down, hacked by Mawat Mag, and he'll go to the charity stripe for a pair.
Dickinson getting a lot more touches so far in the past couple of minutes. We talked about how that hook shot a couple of minutes ago was his first made shot, first points in the second half. It looks like Rutgers has had to fan out their defense a little more. They haven't just been able to sit in the paint and protect it. with the play of the guards, and the guards that are still in the game. Brooks, Buffkin, and Jones have been in the game for the majority of the second half because they played so well, and Dickinson has been able to go to work inside as a result of it.
And that's exactly right. It just opens up so much for Hunter Dickinson inside when you have shooters knocking down shots from the perimeter. He drills the first from the charity stripe. Score is 64 pending the free throw, 65 to 51 with 6 minutes to go here. Wolverines up 14. Time is running out for the Scarlet Knights. Geo Baker, Ron Harper, and crew need to get things going in a hurry. It's McConnell on the wing. Finds Baker, back to McConnell. McConnell, little floater, knocks it down.
We've been saying this all day. Caleb McConnell has played really, really well for Rutgers. He's got 9 points. His season average is 6.4. That's the type of offense that they need from their peripheral players to be able to get back in this game.
Absolutely, and Devontae Jones dribbles that one off his knee. The pesky Caleb McConnell forcing a turnover.
Yeah, and another thing we keep saying is that Jones has not really been a playmaker tonight. He's got those 14 points, those 7 rebounds, but that's his 4th turnover of the night to only 2 assists. He has not been able to playmake for his teammates so far today, and that, I think, has really hurt the Wolverines.
Harper working, has to pick up his dribble, and a foul is called on Dickinson, guarding Amori. That's the 3rd on Dickinson, so not quite too much of an issue yet, but something Phil Martelli definitely is going to monitor. If Dickinson picks up that 4th especially, that's something you got to think about.
Paul Mulcahy just checked in. He's got 4 fouls for Rutgers. Hasn't really played well, hasn't been much of a difference maker. But the thing I'm worried about is Michigan really needs to shore their play up right now. They're looking a little bit lackadaisical, not as crisp as we've seen them and as they should be.
Harper spins off a screen from Amori and finishes through contact. Ron Harper Jr. getting it done with a grown man bucket there.
That's the thickness we're talking about Ron Harper with. I don't think his dad could have done that when he was in college. He was a little bit lankier. Harper is thicker on the waist. He can get in there with the big bodies and make plays like he just did.
And Harper's such a talented player, able to finish inside, also shooting it above 40% from 3, as Eli Brooks has this one guarded by McConnell, putting on the moves. Screen from Dickinson, swung out to Jones. Jones, he'll pull a 3 from the wing. No good. Rebound goes to McConnell, and Rutgers will take it the other way. 10-point game. Michigan leads 65-55, 4:30 to go. Harper, 3 from the wing, way short.
That's his 2nd air ball in the past 2 shots, and that was really the turning point that Rutgers needed, only down 10. That 3 goes in at single digits, 7 points, but Michigan avoids catastrophe, I think. That was a bit of a slippery slope in these past couple possessions.
Mays Rage letting him hear it. Brooks, he'll pull a 3 from the wing. Knocks it down. Eli Brooks extends the lead to 13 for Michigan.
Ron Harper looking upset. Geo Baker's got the ball, though.
Baker, little fall away, can't hit. Rebound goes to Dickinson. He was able to wrestle it away from Mulcahy. Foul called on McConnell. And that's a big call there. Not going on Mulcahy. That would have been his 5th, and his night would have been done early.
Yeah, Rutgers is really frustrated. I think they just felt this game slip away with that Eli Brooks 3. That was a 6-point swing on the missed Ron Harper 3 to that Eli Brooks made 3 in the next possession. And that was the game, in my opinion. I don't think Rutgers will be able to come back from that. They made a nice run up to 10 points, but under 4 minutes, Michigan has the ability with their great guard play, with their veteran guards like Eli Brooks and Devontae Jones, to shut this game down and not allow Rutgers back into it. Like they had an open window. The Scarlet Knights had an open window to come back in this game. That shot by Harper that missed was the last chance they had. We'll see if they can come back, but I don't think we've seen that offensive spark throughout this game that has shown they can go on a run to be able to recapture this lead.
And the Scarlet Knights don't want to count them out quite yet, as they've had to battle against a lot of these ranked teams that they've faced on these last 5 games. They've really had to fight and make a couple of comebacks. So they're not quite out of it yet, but like you said, William, the Wolverines, the ball is in their court, so to speak now. They have the opportunity to work the clock, get a couple of good shots, and walk out of here with a win. Score is 68-55. 3:50 to go as we're in the midst of the under 4 media timeout. Great play all around from Michigan, specifically Houston, Dickinson, and Jones leading the way with the scoring. Eli Brooks tacking on 11. Kobe Buffkin with 5 off the bench. And then Brandon Johns with 2. But those are the only players in the scorebook in terms of points for the Wolverines. So it's been a very centralized offensive game, really going through your 4 of Jones, Houston, Brooks, and Dickinson.
Shea Patterson, drafted first overall by the Michigan Panthers in the opening USFL draft, former Michigan quarterback. I don't know if he can lead them to anything meaningful, but it's nice to see that he's been able to stick around after kind of an underwhelming college career.
And Carlo Kemp, former Wolverine as well, going number 10 overall in the USFL draft.
Panthers got former Indiana running back too, Stevie Scott II. I'm excited to see him play. I think the Panthers are looking good for this year in Birmingham. I still wish they were playing at Ford Field, but I'm excited to watch the USFL. Actually, it's one of the first times I've been excited to watch the Spring Football League. It's good to have a couple Wolverines to watch too.
Both teams take the floor again. For the Scarlet Knights, it's Baker, Mulcahy, McConnell, Harper, and Amori, the starting 5 for the Wolverines. Not the same starting 5 as we had at the beginning of the game. It's Jones, Brooks, Buffkin, Houston, and Dickinson. No Brandon Johns. A little bit of a smaller lineup.
Well, Rutgers only has one traditional big on the floor right now. I don't think Johns would fit well on defense with the lineup the Scarlet Knights are putting out.
I agree. I like the adjustment from Phil Martelli. Everyone except for Amori listed as guards for Rutgers. McConnell, Harper, both listed as guards.
And I don't think you could sit Buffkin with how well he's played either.
Brooks takes a 3. No good. Rebound by Harper. The crowd was wanting that one. They were ready to explode if that one fell, as Kobe Buffkin's called for the foul. Ron Harper draws it. That's 3 on Buffkin. And 5 team fouls for the Wolverines, so still not in the bonus yet for Rutgers.
It's been a relatively light whistle so far today, kind of led to a fast-moving game. It's been, it'll be over by 9 o'clock, pretty quick game.
Lob to the rim, off the inbound. Ron Harper Jr. goes baseline and throws that one down with 2 hands. Nice flush from the star for the Scarlet Knights. Cuts the lead to 11.
Yeah, Ron Harper's got 19 points now. He is 8 of 14 from the field. Still hasn't hit a 3. He's 0 for 4. And for the season, he is still the Scarlet Knights' best three-point shooter on a volume perspective. He's shooting 40% on 5 attempts per game. The other 2 players ahead of him don't really play that much. Paul Mulcahy is the next closest at about 35% from 3. But it's been a little bit weird to see Ron Harper not make these 3s, and if you would see him making maybe 2 of those 4, Rutgers would have a real chance of getting back in this game. They'd only be down 5. But with Harper now scoring 19 points, I said earlier Rutgers is 7-0 in those games where Harper scored 20 points or more. They're either on their way to a miraculous comeback or the first loss in a game where Harper scored 20 or more. I think he'll get to 20 with 3:20 left. He'll have the ball in his hands throughout the end of this game. He is the Scarlet Knights' dude.
Yeah, they look very likely to try to get the ball in his hands. He's the one that's getting it done for him offensively. Got a nice crowd shot here of the Maze Rage. A couple people donning some snorkels here at the pool party. Throwing an E on the end of that one now via Jordan Pool. Both teams back onto the floor, and should be relatively light stoppages from now on, maybe a couple timeouts from coaches, but we're done with the media timeouts. Eli Brooks will inbound for Michigan. Rutgers implementing a man-to-man full-court press. And inbounded to Jones. Brooks will take it up. Baker defending. And the Wolverines able to break the press with relative ease. Rutgers going to be playing aggressive here, looking to force turnovers. It's a double screen from Dickinson and Houston. Back out to Houston. Houston, he'll pull the three. Knocks it down. Caleb Houston.
What a big shot from the freshman. You see Eli Brooks in the game handling the ball at point guard with Diabate Jones' turnover troubles. Really trusting Houston on that shot.
And that ball is thrown away by Mulcahy. Brutal series of events there for Rutgers. You give up the three on one end and then throw it away on the other. Wolverines up 14 now, score 71-57. And Phil Martelli has to be really pleased with the way his team has played today.
They played really well so far in the second half, and you see Paul Mulcahy getting subbed out for Jalen Miller. Mulcahy has really not played well at all today. He's been part of the reason why Rutgers is losing by 14.
Eli Brooks, the veteran, will run the show for Michigan. Finds Dickinson in the side. Inside, Dickinson blows the bunny. Felt Caleb McConnell coming in there as Baker will pull a three off front iron, no good. Dickinson corrals the rebound, slings it out to Devontae Jones. Jones in transition. Can't finish through the contact, rebounded by Harper. He had Buffkin potentially for a lob there, but Harper defended it well. Baker into the lane, passes off to McConnell. Back out to Baker, he'll hoist a three, no good. Baker has shot the ball really poorly from distance today, but the offensive rebound keeps the ball in possession of the Scarlet Knights. And Amori will pull a three, he knocks it down.
That is Rutgers' second three of the game, and it comes from a big man like Amori. We have not said Ron Harper's name out of that timeout. We said he was going to get the ball to end this game, but he has not really touched it on offense.
And Caleb Houston in the corner. Wolverines spreading out the floor, looking to kill some clock here. 11-point lead. And this one looks to be all but over, barring some miraculous plays here from the Scarlet Knights. Eli Brooks finds Dickinson. He'll hoist a three. Dickinson, no good. Rebound by Harper.
We saw Cat win the three-point contest earlier this weekend. Maybe the big men are thinking they can do it too.
Harper, lob up to the rim for Amori. And we've seen that all day today from Amori, getting it done around the rim. But it might be too little too late as we approach 1 minute. Wolverines crossing half court with ease. Dickinson has it at the block M. Finds Jones, his guard. And they're passing it around here. Rutgers unable to force a turnover. Brooks receives a screen from Dickinson. Gets to the rim, can't hit. Rebounded by McConnell. McConnell will push it. Pull up from the charity stripe, no good. Rebound by Caleb Houston. And we're under 35 seconds here. The crowd at Chrysler Center is on their feet for their Michigan Wolverines as they have put on a show here tonight. Up 9 as they will run out the shot clock likely. 16 and counting left on the game clock, 8 on the shot clock. Difference of about 6 seconds. Eli Brooks will eat the turnover. He'll shoot it.
Oh.
Can't hit. Rebounded by Harper. And the buzzer sounds here from the Chrysler Center in Ann Arbor. Your Michigan Wolverines take home the victory. The final score is 71-62. Wolverines over the Scarlet Knights. William, what did the Wolverines do today to bring home this victory over a Scarlet Knight team that is not to be overlooked?
Well, I think you could say you stopped the guards for Rutgers. Harper doesn't score more than 20 points. Rutgers are undefeated in those games. He only scores 19. And Geo Baker shoots 2 of 11 from the field in this one, 0 of 4 from 3. Harper also 0 of 4 from 3, 2 of their best three-point shooters. You really played good defense on those guards. They couldn't shoot well at all. I think you live with Amori scoring 17 points, even though it's on 8 of 9 shooting, which is a really good game for him. He hit that late three. But like I said, in those last 4 minutes, that 6-point swing from the Harper airball three to Eli Brooks' made three on the left wing, that 6-point swing was the key to the game. That was Rutgers' last chance. That last minute run they went on with the three-pointer, those couple transition buckets, that would have been better served if they avoided that run. But Michigan escapes, I think, with a 9-point victory. I don't know if they really played well outside of the middle of the second half when they were really crisp. Towards the end of that second half, they were making some mistakes. Earlier in the game, there were some mindless errors, but that's kind of what we've seen from them all year. It's a really good win against a Rutgers team that's been surging, though, and it's good to see Michigan get a win against a team like this with a really crucial stretch of games coming up next week.
And one of the keys we've seen from Michigan is when Caleb Houston's knocking down his shots from the outside, they tend to play really well. And today, Caleb Houston, 21 points, 6 of 12 from the field, 5 of 9 from deep. He got it done from distance, and what do you know, the Wolverines walk away with a big victory. Well, up next for Michigan, Sunday the 27th, they take on Illinois here at the Chrysler Center. WCBN will have coverage of that one at 2 p.m. And then after that, it's March 1st against Michigan State at 8:30, and Thursday, March 3rd against number 25, Iowa at 9 p.m. WCBN will have coverage for all 3 of those contests, and we'd love to see you back for WCBN's coverage of Michigan men's basketball. With that, from Chrysler Center, for Kelin Flynn and William Gregory, along with Zach and Neal, I'd like to end you with a good night and a go blue.